I'm Jill Nussinell. I'm the Veggie Queen, and what I'm going to be showing you today is I'm going to be showing off my Instant Pot Duo and how it works. It's an electric pressure cooker. I'm going to make a recipe today, which is white beans with greens and lemon. All the beautiful ingredients here.
Go.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn on the saute function here. The nice thing about the Instant Pot Duo is it has a saute function, and I can adjust it so it can be high, medium, or low. I have it on medium right now, and when it is ready, it will say hot. Okay, so now it says hot, and that means it's hot enough to put in. I do want to mention that I actually saute before the hot comes on because it is quite hot in there. Many times people add olive oil when they're doing this. I like to do something called a dry saute. And what that means is I just add my ingredients, in this case onions, and put them in the pressure cooker. I will saute them for a minute or two. If for some reason they start to stick, what I do is I add some of the liquid that I'm going to add anyway, and that would be my broth right here, which I made this morning. You can make the broth in the Instant Pot. It's pretty cool. 5 minutes at pressure. This is only about half the broth that I made, so if I need it, I will add it. Smells really good. So what I do is I save all my kitchen scraps, and I have another video on that, and then I make the stock. So I put everything in, cover it with water, 5 minutes at pressure. So my onions are getting to be slightly cooked. You can see there's lots of steam here, and it smells really, really good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the saute function, and I'm going to move on, and I'm going to put the beans in, and this is when I'm really going to start pressure cooking. Okay, so now my onions are sauteed, and now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pressure cook. So what this pot does, it has a setting. It has a manual setting, which I really like. There's manual, it's set to 30. I only need to cook this for 7 minutes, so I'm going to turn it to 7. And what I'm going to do is very, very simple. There's my 7. I want to show you the beans I'm going to use, but these are lima beans, or any kind of white bean will do. Cannellini, navy, Great Northern. These are my beans when they are soaked, and you can see a huge difference between the soaked ones and the non-soaked ones. So I'm going to use soaked beans for this. This was 1.5 cups. The recipe calls for 1 cup, but I love beans, so I figured I would do more. I soak them overnight. You can also do a quick soak. A quick soak is 3 inches of water above the beans. Bring it to a boil for 1 minute. Turn it off. Let it sit 1 hour. So my beans are in. I'm going to put in a couple of bay leaves. And then the only other thing I need to put in is stock. So I'm actually going to put in a whole cup of stock for this. Your recipe will say 3/4 because you're going to do 1 cup of beans. If you need to do more, you'll add more stock. My ratio is 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of stock for each 1 cup of dry soaked beans. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on the cooker. Okay, now I'm putting the lid on the cooker. I'm turning it, and it is on. What will happen now, just so you know, is it says on. As soon as the contents boil, push up the pressure valve, it will start counting down, and it will count down for 7 minutes. Okay, the pressure cooker now came to the number 7, and it's going to start counting down. And I don't have to do anything now. I can run off and take a shower. Just to show you, you cannot open this pressure cooker while it is under pressure. Okay, so when this little silver button pops up, this is how you know that it's under pressure. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the greens off the stems. This is beautiful, beautiful kale. I think it's Red Russian, but I don't know. It's so beautiful. And all I do is hold the kale and the stem and just pull. And that's what I want. And once I get most of these off the stems, and why am I taking them off the stems? Because the stems tend to be tough. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finely chop it. Okay, this recipe calls for lemon zest and lemon juice. Here's one important thing. Always zest your lemons before you juice your lemons. This is a regular Eureka lemon. Here in California, we get Meyer lemons. They're both good. When you use lemons, make sure you use unwaxed, unsprayed lemons. To do this well, it's good to have a zester, and this is a microplane zester. And what you might not see, but I will show it to you, the lemon zest is coming off on the back of the zester. This is what you want to use. So I'm going to, because I have two, I'll use a little bit of each. A little bit of the Meyer lemon, a little bit of the regular lemon. And then when I do the juice, the Meyer lemon juice is a little sweeter, and you can use whatever lemon you can get. But I am going to use the Meyer lemon. And in order to do this, I am going to use one of my very cool tools, which I highly recommend, which is a lemon squeezer. You put the lemon in the way you think you don't put the lemon in, the flat side down. And then all you do is press. And then you have your lemon juice, and it keeps the seeds out. And so I'm going to use both parts of the lemon to do this. And I will have, I don't know, maybe 3 tablespoons of juice. And that's what I want to use in this recipe. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use some garlic. Most everybody loves garlic, and this recipe relies on garlic. What I'm doing is I'm using my garlic roller, and what it does is it will take the skin off the garlic. This is very young garlic, and it may not want its skin taken off, so let's see. It is going to stick a little bit, but it's easy to get off. I'm going to put it into my garlic twist, which I am going to show you next. This little garlic twist was introduced to me by a garlic grower. You put the garlic in, and you turn. No parts left behind like you get with your press. So let's see. There is the minced garlic ready to go in. Okay, the time is up on the cooker. It should go to 0. When it goes to 0, what you want to do, if you're home and you're not still out walking the dog, is you want to hit the off button. And what will happen now is the pressure cooker will let the pressure come down. Now, how long this takes depends on how much you have in it. I'm going to guess that this is going to take at least 10 minutes. It may take a little longer. Remember, until the pressure comes down, I cannot open the pot. For the next part of the recipe, I'm going to show you what's called a quick release, and that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pressure has released, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the pot. When you open the pot, you want to always tilt the lid away from you because it's very, very hot. It's very cool that this pot actually has a holder for the lid, which is a wonderful, wonderful improvement in the Duo. So anyway, I'm just stirring the beans a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the last ingredients, well, almost last ingredients. I'm going to add the greens, the lemon zest, and there's a lot of greens. There was that whole bunch of greens, and I'm putting those in. I'm going to put in the garlic, which you probably remember from my little garlic twist. And this garlic is wonderfully juicy, so I'm going to have to use a spoon to get it out and give it a little whack here. And then I'm going to add this in. You never want to fill your pressure cooker more than 2/3 full. I'm kind of right at the top, but I know the greens are going to go down and cook down a lot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the lid on the cooker. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to set the pressure to manual and 1. And then I'm going to do a quick release. So the steam is coming out of the pressure valve now, and that means that it is now at pressure. I see the little button pop up. You got it? Okay, so the 1 minute is up, and I'm going to hit off because I want it off. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, because I want this to stop cooking, is I'm going to do a quick release. Now, it is not too hot for me to touch, but if you feel like it's too hot for you to touch, you could use some kind of utensil to do this. You definitely can put your hand in here and feel that it's warm, but you do not put your hand down below because it is hot, hot, hot. I cannot open this cooker until the pressure is completely released, and so I'm just turning this to let the pressure out. And once the pressure is out, I'm going to open the lid carefully. I'm going to add my lemon juice, because that's the last ingredient. And then I'm going to plate up this beautiful one-pot meal, which I would serve with noodles or quinoa or your favorite grain. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the pot carefully. Remember, tilt it away from you. I'm going to add the lemon juice, which is the last ingredient, and then I'm going to plate this up. So what I want to make sure I do is I want to pull out my bay leaves because you don't want anyone to get one of those. So now you can see my beautiful plate of greens, beans, and it has lemon in it. And this is what you can do in about 15 or so, 20 minutes in the pressure cooker.